2 a.m., man, a lot of times I think about how I can help somebody,
Yeah.
how I can help the next person.
It keeps you up at night, does it?
It'll keep me up at night. Let's say a kid that's going through it but really wants to get better, do better, man, that would keep me up a lot trying to figure out how I can actually help that kid. That's something I think about a lot at that time of night.
Welcome back to the Voices of Valor podcast. I'm your host, Michael Macri. Today we're joined by Julian Ward, Austin, Texas native, former collegiate athlete at Texas State University, and owner of Focus Performance, where he trains youth athletes on sports performance and skills training. In addition to that, Julian is also co-owner of Force 7v7 Football. Really happy for him to join us today. Julian, thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
From where you sit as a performance coach, just curious to know what you see as the top three things that potentially get in the way of youth athletes reaching their full potential.
1, technology. 2, I would say a driven mindset. And 3, say just work ethic. As far as technology, a lot of kids will be on their phone and they won't use their phone for their work purposes or for their performance purposes. Like I always tell people, YouTube is your best friend. It can either be good, it can be bad. There's so much things on YouTube. If you don't learn from your coach, if you don't learn from your trainer, if you don't learn from others who are in the game, go on YouTube, look up, how can I run a better 40? How can I get a quicker shuttle? As far as mindset, I feel like mindset nowadays with kids is like, instead of going to get it, you want the handout. And that's not necessarily saying it's all kids. So you got some dogs out there that actually want to go get it. You know what I mean? But it's just overall, the biggest thing is like, you want somebody to tell you to have to work out. You want somebody to tell you to go study film, to go out on the field and do some drills, do some work, or in a weight room. And that's the biggest thing that it tells you if you're going to be an elite athlete or you're going to be an average athlete.
Yeah, I got
You
you.
know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, the youth landscape is a lot different from when you and I grew up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just mentioned a bunch of things there. They're all basically distractions, from social media to, family input, friends, what they see from their coaches. So kids are getting pulled from all different directions, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what you see working with your athletes as well, how can you help them provide strategies to like help them reduce the amount of noise that is coming to them?
Well, first and foremost, I always tell them, like, a lot of kids will go to like 5, 6 different trainers. And that's where the confusion comes in. It's like, because you got multiple people telling you different things, and everybody doesn't train the same. So you have all these people telling you in your mind, do this way, do it this way, do it that way. And that's where the confusion come in. So what I tell my athletes, like, get a skills trainer, get a performance trainer. All right, you got two parts of the avenue of an athlete that you're working on. You know what I mean? If you got a trainer that does both, which I do, then you got it all right there. I literally let my kids know, it's like, if you come come to me and just think that's how you gonna get better and not do nothing outside of our training, then you're not gonna improve. So I have my kids actually, most of them will tell me after workout, Coach, what can I do this day? What can I do that day? Or I have a lot of my athletes signed up for memberships at the gym I train at. So if I see them, Coach, what kind of lift, what should I do right now? And I'll get my actual workout there. And that's why I'm training another client. I'll tell them, I'll give them my actual workout. And even if I'm at the field, hey, y'all want to join in? Join in this session. I love that y'all at this field getting in some work. You know what I mean? Y'all working on y'all skills. You're working on your development. So it's a lot of things. I feel like as a trainer, you have to get them out that mindset that you're not here just to, I'm just going to work out and not think about it outside it. You're here to learn your workouts, learn what we do, mimic it outside of here, and do it on your own. I had 2 athletes I can tell you about. and I have multiple, but two athletes I can tell you about. A kid named Adrian, kid
Yeah.
named Abram. Two track athletes I train. Man, every time after workout, I work them out twice a week. Every time after workout, they tell me, Coach, what can I do Saturday? And these kids who train at school
Yeah.
plus with me, and they asking me, and they train with me twice a
Mm.
week. They ask me, what can I do outside of here, Coach?
It's a mindset you were talking
It's
about.
exactly,
Yeah, exactly.
mindset. It's like you want to get better. Well, there's different things. There's levels to getting better.
For sure, yeah. That's the cool thing about youth athletes. When you have that good mindset, they're always wanting to do more. But that's what, in researching sort of like, this conversation, in Australia, like, we're very big in long-term athlete development, where you start off where, hey, kids should just have fun, you know what I mean? Just get their skills going, play ball, whatever do. And then as you get older, you get into competition. But I always was thinking about like the kids that, hey, like, burnout is a real issue because they want to do so much, and they want to do more, and their parents are like, hey, you can play this sport and that sport or whatever it might be. So I did a bit of a research, and I saw an article from the American Academy of Pediatrics. So they basically did this big research study and said that 1 in 10 youth athletes in America report burnout, and nearly 70% quit organized sports by age 13, which I thought was absolutely nuts, but it makes sense, right? So basically, when you work with your athletes, and you've worked with a lot of them, and particularly this is probably good for parents listening in, or even athletes themselves, like, what are like the top 3 early signs of seeing your kids being fatigued or in that early stage of burnout that you can sort of, oh, okay, I see this, and now we can help protect the development by putting guardrails in?
I would say like not wanting to go to practice that day, or when it comes to training, not wanting to go to workouts that day. And I feel like I see a lot of parents, they say yes too much. If their kids say, oh, I want to play soccer, oh, I want to play football, oh, I want to play basketball, I want to do all these things that's happening sometimes at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the burnout comes. And especially in the youth athletes, I didn't start football, like organized football, like till 7th grade. And that's my main sport. My first sport was actually basketball.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So with starting football at 7th grade, I was already like thinking like, this is my starting point. I'm gonna keep working. And then I never got burned out of it. Even the workouts was crazy hard.
Yeah.
I never got burned out of it because I started at a later time and I was focusing more on that. If you have kids saying they want to play a sport, they never worked at, they never trained at and stuff, then they're just going to be out there just doing stuff and not even thinking, how's this making me better?
For sure, yeah.
I would tell parents, really have a kid play a sport that's going to mimic their main sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, for instance, like we can say football, basketball. There's certain movements in football that you'll do as a receiver that when it comes to release off the line that you would do in basketball when it comes to dribbling the basketball, moving hip, lateral, things like that. I would say mimic your main, play a sport that mimics your main sport. And you will see more of a development instead of a burnout.
I got you, yeah. What happens if, you start seeing those early signs? Like, what advice would you give parents or even, coaches, athletes that start to notice that? Strategies to sort of prevent them from the youth athletes from completely checking out once you start seeing those early signs?
I would say take some time off.
Mm-hmm.
As a youth athlete, take some time off. You got a whole bunch of years to really think about what you want to do. Let's say you're playing 3 sports in elementary, 3 or 4 sports in elementary. Take out 2 of those. Maybe take out 3.
Mm-hmm. Take
time out of it. And I would say just get your mind right. It's because the biggest thing about athletes is like you said, it's mental.
Yeah.
If you're steady doing all this and that, and you're not focused on your mental part of it, then you are going to burn out. So I would say take time off.
I got you.
And then because you're going to come into middle school, and that's where you're going to actually play the organized part of sports.
For sure, yeah. And obviously the higher you go up in schooling, the more intense
it gets.
Yeah. But what happens if taking time off is an option? Because, reality of life, like, parents, particularly if they're going up to more private schools where they're already paid for their child to play that sport. It's like, well, maybe they can afford it, but maybe they can't. Maybe they go, well, I just paid all this money. I can't afford my child to no longer play that sport we've paid for. So what are other examples of helping these kids if you are seeing those early signs of burnout with time off isn't an option?
So I would say, let's think about football. Football, you're in pass, like you getting hit and this and that. And you might get tired of getting hit.
Yeah.
Go play something else like flag or 7-on-7.
Yeah.
To where you're not getting hit, but you're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
And that can take away from a little bit as far as rest in your body. So you're also getting recovery from the contact, and you're not like, it's 7-on-7 and flag is a little bit different. It's a lot easier than regular football. So you're not having to think too much. So you're still in a sport that you love, but you're just not having to do that extra part. You know what I'm saying? That pads on in the sun all day with helmet and stuff on, 100-degree weather. So that's where a lot of kids, when it comes to sports, they start off too early. That's why I'd say parents, that you start your kids out way too early when it comes to sports, instead of just go in the backyard and just teach your kids some things. And then I would say wait till like 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah.
To really start.
You let kids be kids, right?
You let kids be kids.
Yeah.
Like let their minds just see, look, okay, I see this sport. I'm watching football, NFL on Sunday. I'm watching NBA, you know what I'm saying, during the week. Let them think, do I really want to play this? Or do I do I love this and stuff? Wait, start teaching them at their early age. And then once they get to like 6th, 7th grade, that's when to put them in.
Yeah. And you did mention earlier, like, and you're right, like, because parents have a hard time saying no. But a lot of the time it's because they want to see their kids happy. They want the best for them. So it's like, it's normal. But on the flip side, young kids, they also have a hard time saying no, but for different reasons, because they might be scared of losing their position on the team or being cut, whether it's like, hey, I'm feeling burnt out, but I can't take time off, or I have this injury, but I can't tell coach, or whatever it might be, right? Because there's this little bit of fear. Kids don't want to be cut, or they don't want to disappoint their parents or coaches for whatever they do. So from what you've seen out there working with these kids, if you had to sit down with them and their parents and say, hey, like, here are the 3 things that basically will encourage better communication so that we know, right, these issues before they happen, what would they be?
As far as you're talking about, as far as like, let's say, just the scare part.
Yeah, so like I'm a kid, right? I'm in your tutelage, and basically I'm injured, or I've had enough. Like I want a bit of a break, but I'm too scared to tell you, and I'm too scared to tell coach because of fear of like, hey, he's gonna kick me out of the team, or he's not gonna play me on the weekend. And as much as I don't want to be doing this, I also love the sport, right? But I'm too scared to talk about it.
Yeah.
So what are some strategies to open up these athletes, to want them to feel comfortable to talk about this thing so they can be honest and open and obviously, be healthier and less injured as a result?
I would say the biggest thing when it comes to the coach, because I was one of them athletes that I got injured a lot. You know what I mean? And I was always nervous to tell my coach. Like, I didn't want to tell him.
That's because it's a common occurrence at that age.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, you have to communicate it. And I would say, as a coach, if you're telling this kid he can't play and he's seriously, like, actually injured, and telling him he's gonna lose his spot in this, you're not a good coach. Because you have to go through that recovery phase as an athlete too. And as a coach, you have to teach that recovery phase too. If you're just grounding, pounding, doing this to your athlete, well, you're losing your athlete. You're losing their mind, you're losing their ability. Biggest thing as a coach want to see, if you're really injured, I want to see you in the morning at the training. I want to see you doing necessary things to go to recover, to actually fix the problem you're going in. And while you're doing that recover your mind.
Yeah.
Recover your mind, like, relax. Sometimes I used to meditate. I still do sometimes, man, whenever it's, even when I went through my Achilles tear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, back then, I would have been in panic mode. But I was like, man, it's going to be all right. I'm going to heal, do necessary things to heal, and get back to normal thing. But as far as kids, man, don't be scared to communicate. Like, I want my athletes, whenever something's going on, I want them to communicate. I don't want to send you out there and you're not at 100%,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, is your teammates are going to look at you. Why you not going 100%? Why you not doing this? Why you
Yeah.
not doing that? I would rather you focus on getting better.
Yeah, I got you. Well, let's delve into the Achilles for a bit, because like that didn't come overnight.
No.
You know what I mean? So how did you get to the point where you've torn your Achilles, a major injury? You know, it's going to affect you for a good 2 years on athletic performance, whatever you want to do, and for you to just go, hey, everything's going to be all right. Like, how did you get to that stage to be able to be like that? And if you were talking to a bunch of kids right now that were going through the same thing, like, what would you give them?
I would say, one, you're going to have a mental blockage. You are. At a younger age. I'm more of an adult now. You know, I'm not playing like competitive sports. So it's a little bit easier for me. But at a young age, you're going to go through that mental blockage. And the biggest thing I would say, if you have friends, friends is what got me through a lot of my injury days and stuff. Just being there for me. Like, one friend, for instance, my friend Alex, when I tore my ACL in high school, senior year of high school, second last game, I lost all my offers. And I was going through a mental crisis. Man, seeing that, all that stuff gone, thinking I had my future set. And in that, man, I didn't want to see nobody. I didn't want to go nowhere. I thought I was done for it. You know what I mean? And then my friend Alex, man, him and his family, they came to my house, prayed over me. He was with me every day, talking to me, just keep my heads up. And that's the biggest thing. Be around somebody positive. If you know you're going through a situation, be around people that's positive, because you won't have to think about that situation. You know what I mean? If you just sit there and think that everything is over, when it's not, then it's gonna create all these different things in your mind that's gonna cause you to just not wanna overcome. And so I would say, find people, have real friends that's gonna be there lifting you up and encouraging you and things like that. And I promise you, you'll probably get better faster than you know.
No, I love that. And it's proof as well that like you had that injury and you still had a great college career, so that you can go from that and like you said, everything's going to be all right. You know what I mean? But as athletes, young athletes that are looking for that support system, do you find that they tend to open up to coaches, family, friends more? Like, who do they open up to more? Or does it depend on the environment they're in that allows them to feel more comfortable?
I'd say it's the environment they're in first. And I say, when it comes to opening up, they're going to open up to probably that one coach before they even open up to their parents. Because that one coach is checking on them. That one coach is asking them every day, are you good? How's the progress? How's this and that? They're probably going to open up to them first, then they're going to open up to their friends. The parents is going to be last of who they open up to. And the reason why is because they may feel like they're a failure. You know, a lot of times young athletes will feel like they failed and they don't want to tell their parents the situation they're going through. Like me, I never told my parents what I was going through. And so I feel like that one coach that you have, that even the trainer, that trainer that you have, that's going to be that first person you're going to look to, is like really telling them what you're actually going through. And a lot of times, people don't realize a lot of trainers and coaches actually save a lot of kids' lives and save a lot of kids and help with a lot of kids' mental. That's why, man, big ups to those coaches that actually do that, check in on their athletes, not just one athlete, but all their athletes.
Yeah.
And they actually let them know that they're going to be there. And that's what helps a kid. That's what takes a kid to the next level.
For sure, yeah.
Is that support system.
I got you. And that's important, because like you're talking about going to that next level. A lot of kids tend to think that going to that next level is like working harder and harder and harder. And in some cases, maybe depending on the sport. But there's this big mantra right now with like training smarter versus training harder. So sport is becoming very vicious, particularly in the youth sense, where kids are getting recruited earlier. Competitions are getting more intense earlier. Like in baseball, Tommy John surgery, injuries through pitches. They used to be, 16 to 18 at the youngest. Now you're getting 10-year-olds having them. So there is definitely this balance, right? But at the end of the day, like I said, at certain ages, you want kids to be kids. So when you're working with kids and you're dealing with parents, what are some of the things that you can do to balance like the joy of actually playing the sport versus the importance of still keeping the progression of the development going?
Even when it comes to training, I would say the atmosphere still has to be, you know what I'm saying, somewhat not just a serious, oh, I'm here, you gotta do this.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta also allow the kid to be comfortable. When I'm with my athletes, how I train them, I'm speaking to them at the same time, not just about the workout. Like I'm telling you your exercise, I'm showing you, walking you through it, but I'm also talking to you about your day. I'm also talking to you about what do you feel like you're doing in your sport? Like how are you doing in your sport, or even just about life? It can be something simple just about life. Like, man, did you go fishing one day? Did you go fishing the other day? I had clients, we don't talk about fishing for a good amount of time. And with that, when an athlete knows that you don't just care about this one thing, you're just not there for just money, and you actually care about their well-being and stuff, they're gonna go 10 times harder. But in a sense, they're also gonna listen way better too and understand. I would say that's the biggest thing, man, when it comes to that.
Yeah. And then as kids go through their developmental stage, like right now, and it's this age-old debate about, you know, early specialization
Mm-hmm.
in the sport versus playing multiple sports. There's like a lot of research out there that shows that if you specialize early in one particular sport, um, you can be more at risk to overuse injuries, burnout. On the flip side, playing multiple sports at a young age can help develop like, multiple different movement patterns,
Yeah.
and also different physiological developments too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're like working, let's say you're working with a kid, the parent comes in, like what are some of the things that you'll tell these parents and athletes about like when to specialize versus when to, just play a variety of sports, and to look after their long-term athletic development?
I would say high school.
Mhm.
High school is when you double down on really what you want to focus on. It's like what sport. Middle school is where you play multiple sports to really get uh, different types of movements and technique work, things like that. Like, for instance, track, I tell all my athletes run track. Reason why, you're going to work on those twitch muscles, you're going to work on your knee
Mhm.
drive, just certain things you may not work on in another sport because it's basketball, change of direction,
Yeah.
football, straight line. But track is going to help develop all that. So I would say middle school is where you figure out like you play this sport, you play that sport, you play that sport. Now when you get to high school, start doubling down. What is going to be your main sport? What are you going to specialize in? Um, Freshman year, you're still in that moment of really thinking about it. Sophomore year is where okay, I'm locked in on this. All right. Now you can still play a lot, and I still recommend playing a second sport
Mm-hmm.
just to keep that development going.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you're gonna lock in on your main sport, and I say focus more on the training part instead of going out there and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Like you're in football season, or let's say you're in basketball season, and you trying to play AAU basketball at the same time. Stick to the school. Wait till AAU starts into something. If you're playing in football season, I would say even in middle school, if you're in football season, don't go out and play flag football and this and that. Learn the actual real game of football,
Yeah.
because flag football is way different than actual real football. But yeah, specialization comes in the high school time. That's when you focus on that one thing.
Yeah. And when it comes to like developing, physiological athletic development, what are the big rocks for youth athletes to develop early on?
Biggest thing is really stability, mobility. Those are things I see in a lot of my youth athletes when they first come to me that they don't have, and you need that in every sport.
Hmm.
Um, they're like I said, their balance is off. They're gonna have weakness, of course. They're young. They're not into the weight room yet and stuff. So I would say, develop that stability part, make sure they're balanced and stuff. Then you start growing into putting that resistance, those weights onto them, and to where when they're squatting, they're not leaning one way, they're not leaning the other way. They're balanced now. They're controlled. So yeah, starting young, just working on those two parts. And um, a lot of kids, like say, deal with knee bogus, where what I'm saying,
Yeah.
knees is all
Yeah,
in
that's a
and
big
stuff.
one. Yeah.
So that's another big thing to fix too with a lot of other youth athletes, so they can run more straighter, more upright, different things like that. Even when it comes to lift, they're not pushing in, hurting their hips, things
Hmm.
like that.
That's a big thing now with pro athletes. Like, a lot of athletes have excessive valgus as a dependence of like, with the knees going inward. There's a lot of factors there. Is it weak hips? Is it weak quads? Is it,
Mm,
but even in the pro level, there's issues there. What we spoke about earlier, I was saying the higher the level of schooling, if you will, the more intense the competition gets. But all these kids that come from high school sports, they all have aspirations to go into college, right?
mm-hmm.
And college is like the ultimate, and you know about this. The strength of schedule is harder, the season's longer, the training is more
It's way
intense.
hard.
You're basically in the pros, right?
Yeah.
So when talking with your athletes, what are some of the pieces of advice or actual things they can do right now that can help them better transition for when they go to college and they get that scholarship or they get that offer to go?
I would say with high school wise, when you're starting to get in that recruiting
Hmm.
phase, I would say you got to program your mind. Like college, we was up in the weight room at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock. Um, then we going to breakfast, then we have meetings, then we got class. So it's an all day thing. You got to program your mind to start doing that. Like wake up early,
Hmm.
even if you don't have to. Wake up early, go get a workout in, or go study something. Um, and do that consistently, and that's going to help in one bit. Um, and I would say, you're gonna get yelled at like crazy in college. Like I done heard the craziest things from college coaches.
Oh yeah.
Um, you gotta have, as an athlete in high school, you can't play the blame game. You can't play the victim game. You can't. Is That's not gonna like fall in college. So biggest thing is learning how to take accountability.
Hmm.
Like if you miss a workout and you gotta do consequences, don't complain about it. That is you.
Put your hand up.
Exactly. This is one thing I see nowadays, and I hate it. There's parents that would take their kid on a vacation on game day nowadays. I've never seen that before back then.
That's crazy. What's the reason for that? Just they don't want them to play the game, or what's going on?
It's thing is they're not thinking about, like, this kid missed his game. Let's say they're a sophomore or junior. This kid missed his game, and you want this kid to get recruited.
Hmm.
Well, college coach come in there, and your high school coach tell him, "Oh yeah, he went on vacation when we had a game day, important game. No matter if it's an easy opponent or hard opponent, he went on vacation and said that college coach is gonna look at you. Oh, for real? And he's gonna mark you, X you off,
Yeah.
walk out. And So I would say when it comes to, I know we're talking about the kids, but when it comes to parents, man, if they're in a sport, they need to be in that
Yeah.
sport. It's no like vacation time and this and that. Wait till that off season.
Mm.
And because that's going to help them being focused and staying focused on that sport during the season, learning the different things that they need to learn to, one, go out and win the game, go out and be successful in their position. They're going to need all the development, especially if they want to go to college.
Yeah, yeah. And it's important because like the child and the parent, like they're a team at that age, right? So they both complement each other. And it's important. So it's a good little mindset to have as a parent. But if we go bring it back to the athlete for a second, other than just like getting bigger, faster, stronger, and to be able to, you know, survive in that intense college environment, what are some habits or behaviors, like we talked about mindset before, but what are some habits and behaviors that are more important than the raw physical ability that kids need to have and prepare for that jump to a bigger, more intense environment that is college?
I would say learning how to balance school uh, with the sport. Because a lot of kids don't understand how you act in class is going to translate to how you act in the sport. And in college, I literally seen a kid after one of my friends after practice, we sit in a circle.
Mhm.
Coach says, "Hey, go pack your bags. You ain't on the team no more. Go back to your dorm, pack your bags. You ain't on the team no more. You can go home." And because they didn't have that discipline as the classroom
Yeah.
and the actual sport. So that's one of the major things is balance between class, your hobbies, and the sport. Because college it's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job.
Hmm.
So yeah, that part, and then um having a good like log is, I would say start a log your stuff. What are you doing this day? What are you doing this hour, this hour? Log your stuff. So um, when you do get there, you already have it programmed to where if a coach give you a list uh, or of the things y'all doing that day, you're there early because you already got a program in you to be there early. You know,
Yeah,
it's already in you.
for sure. I get you. And there's a lot of these school programs like at Baylor, you got Dave Aranda. At Clemson, you got Dabo Sweeney. They're wanting good young men,
Mm,
not just on the field, but outside of it. And then there's a lot of programs around the country that their motto is, you know, like we want to set you up now, but we also want to set you up for when you leave so that you can land on your feet, right?
mm,
So that's really great advice for young kids. But if we bring it back to the parent for a second, and you spoke about recruitment,
mm.
and a lot of parents do think that recruiting is all about having a good highlight reel. But as you know, it's a
It's a
lot
lot.
more than that. Like you mentioned grades, you mentioned attitude in the classroom, also attitude out in the field, discipline, all sorts of things. Are you a good person? Do you have good, are you into your faith? Like these are all extracurriculars that are in your control and out of your control that people look for, right? So from what you've seen, because I see you all the time, I always comment, hey, you're a different, game in the fall, you're at Texas and you're at LSU. And so you do a lot of helping with your kids with recruitment, and you've
Mm.
put something up recently on Instagram about helping kids with their recruitment. So what are the three biggest things that coaches evaluate for a kid to come into their program? And what are three of their biggest concerns about that same kid when they're going into their process of should I recruit him or her?
I would say the three biggest things. I would say um, discipline, communication, body language, and discipline. When it comes to discipline, they're gonna see your head coach is gonna tell them, does he show up? Is he argumentative? Is he disrespectful? When they come recruit you, does he listen? Is he steady making the same mistake over and over and over? Um, And then when it comes to communication, are you communicating with your coaches? Are you communicating with the college coaches?
Mm-hmm.
Are you just waiting for them to contact you? Because that's not going to happen all the time. A lot of times you got to go out and get it. Like I have an athlete right now, Gary Jefferson. I've been mentoring him a lot on how to like market himself, communicate, send a message. If a Twitter coach, if a college coach follows you on Twitter, you should have a message prepared right there to send them with your highlight tape, with your GPA,
Mm-hmm.
with your email, all the things you need. It don't have to be long, but you have to be prepared to be able to communicate, because you may be a you may be able to type on Twitter and Instagram, but if you don't know how to do it in person,
Yeah.
when that coach comes to your school and recruits you, then they're gonna look at like, this kid can't even, talk to me. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then I would say the most major thing out of them three is body language. I literally have seen coaches go to a game, kid gets mad, goes and sit on the bench because he made a mistake, or he got yelled at, and he goes away from his team, not cheering for his team, this and that. Literally seen coach get up and walk out. Stop recruiting them. And that's important, not just for college coaches, but for your position coach, your head coach.
Yeah.
If you have bad body language, I'm not about to play you, because that energy is going to reflect on the team, and you're not going to go 100% every rep. Body language is the biggest thing when it comes to you being a better athlete, and also when you get recruited. You can't go out there, make a mistake, put your head down. And I tell my athletes that I coach, if I see your head down, you coming out the game. If you make a mistake, make up for it. I always make up for it. All right, because eventually you're gonna make this mistake. You may make it again, or you learning from it, or you just pouting about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. And what about the concerns that coaches have about these kids as to the reasons why they're looking for these things?
As far as college coaches, what are the
Yes,
concerns?
sir.
It's because you don't have mom and daddy when you go to college. It's you and those coaches. Like you're grown.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're grown and you still haven't fixed these things, then you're not going to be able to do good in college, period. When it comes to the classroom and when it comes to the actual sport.
Yeah, you're right about that. You got to grow up very quickly.
You got to grow up quickly. Athletes, I would say athletes have to grow up faster than just regular students at the college.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And if you had to bring it back to the athlete side now, because obviously coaches are asking all these questions, but it's a two-way interview. So, from the athlete's perspective, what questions should they be asking the coach so they can understand, is this a good fit for me from a sporting, athletics, or even a personal standpoint?
I would say if a college coach comes to recruit you, I would say the biggest things you need to ask, coach, what when it comes to what you saw on film, what are things that you feel like I need to work on? What are things that that you feel that I did good at, that I can actually develop more? And I would say athletes need to ask about the actual school. Like what majors, like tell them about your major. Ask them like, I want to major in so and so. Do y'all offer that program also at the school? And then I would say, as far as athletes, ask like, coach, can you actually give me a breakdown of how y'all schedule is during the day, so I can bring that back to what I'm doing right now and practice it. And you ask those simple questions right there, that's gonna have that coach. Okay, so he's trying to get ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially if you ask, like, that's one thing that a lot of athletes don't ask. Like, coach, what if I may know what's y'all schedule, and how do y'all break things up when it comes to practice, when it comes to meetings, when it comes to recovery, all these things. How do y'all break that up throughout the day? Because I want to tie that into what I'm doing right now and see if I'm doing it right, or if I need to put some stuff into it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And in addition to that, you obviously have the actual preparation phase of the recruitment in itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the landscape is changing very quickly with how influential social media is. You've spoken about it quite a bit. And now, obviously, NIL, which, athletes are starting to get paid. It's going crazy. It's the Wild Wild West out there.
Yeah.
So, and this only happened in the last few years, how this crazy landscape is changing. So, you haven't been out of college all that long yourself, but still from where you were 5, 6, 7 years ago to now, it's a completely different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
So with your kids that are going into college or preparing to go into college, again, what are some of the advices that you can give them so that they can navigate this ever-changing landscape and present themselves in A, authentic, B, responsible, because you know how irresponsible young kids can be. See, put them in an environment where it doesn't distract them from the main thing, which is their overall development so they can play the game.
Let's say you're a junior, or let's say, no, actually a senior, and you're about to go out to college. I would say, man, just really be ready to just be prepared for just the day-to-day things you have to do. I would say be prepared for your teammates to get onto you. Be prepared for the schedule, as far as like the balance of the classes, the balance of like I said, your recovery, your practice and thing, and be prepared for how game day goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because college game day is way different than Friday night lights.
Yeah.
But also make sure when you go to college, you have fixed your mindset, especially by senior year. If your mindset is, if you still got a lot of like, I want handouts, or I can go do this, but I don't feel like it right now. If you still got that going on, you're not prepared. Like you still have that lazy mindset.
Yeah. And how can you encourage kids to make those changes?
In a sense, I'm gonna be honest with you, I would say if you have a friend or if you have a group, y'all do that stuff together. Do it together, like, cause me and my friends back in the day, I can say my friend Alex, I was talking about earlier, my friend Storm, a couple of others, we used to hold each other accountable a lot. And if you get friends that hold you accountable, if you miss something and they on to you and stuff, that's gonna prepare you a lot, because when you get to that college level, those seniors and juniors, they gonna be on to you, especially you mess up a rep and they have to do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the discipline part. Discipline part is what the biggest thing you gotta be prepared for.
I got you. And like everything that we've spoken about today, it can be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
These kids have a lot on their plate. They have to develop physically, they have to develop in their sport, they have to get good grades, they have to focus on, the recruitment and the social media and the NIL noise. And it's for also the parents going through it with their child. It can be very, very overwhelming. And they're like, well, I have no idea how to navigate any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, obviously to wrap everything up that we've spoken about today, if you had to give some final advice to people that are going through this right now, what would you give it? The advice to athletes themselves, their families and their support systems on how to go through this journey, right? Stay grounded, be disciplined, like you said, but also enjoy the ride. Like, what advice would you give them on this journey?
I would say preparation. I would say as a freshman, when it comes to parents, as a freshman, let your athletes know this is what you got to do, but don't do it for them. You can do that in middle school, but when it comes to high school, teach them how to do it 1-2 times and have them do it on their own, and that would tell them if they really want to go to this next level. And I have a lot of my athletes that I prepare for all that stuff. And when it comes to communication, it's easy. If you're trying to communicate to a coach, have something already prepared. If you got an email, have her email, just change some things in it. You can send that out to multiple people. Same with a social media or a Twitter post or a Twitter message. It's not that hard. It takes like what 1 minute to you get that prepared, 30 seconds to send it out,
Yeah.
and that's you got a lot of time throughout the day.
Mm.
When it comes to marketing, don't think they're just gonna come after you because of your name. Go on your Instagram and Twitter, post your workouts. If you have a game that day, post that, oh, I'm going to play so-and-so today at 3 o'clock. Come out and watch. You know what I mean? After that, post your highlights from that. Because a lot of coaches use social media nowadays to recruit kids.
For sure, yeah.
Especially Twitter. And some use Instagram. Don't just post like you doing some crazy athletic thing. They don't want to see that. They want to see you active. They want to see you working. They want to see you actually competing. And then last thing I would say, have a creative mindset. And what I mean by have a creative mindset, sports, everybody can't make D1. Everybody can't make college, period. You know what I mean? And when I say have a creative mindset, don't just think about one thing. You know what I mean? Have hobbies. Do other things other than the sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for instance, me, I like to go fishing. And a lot of times, like, relax your mind from thinking about the actual sport sometimes. Like, you can do your film study, you can work out, you can train, play the sport, but there's a couple hours in there where you can relax your mind from it. And a lot of kids don't, some kids don't think about that. Find a hobby that you can do and put that within your schedule so you can also have that recovery time to actually think about something else.
Yeah. Hey, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. It's great advice. Yes, thank you. So what we're going to do now to wrap up, we've got this one of my favorite segments, sorry. I've got this thing called the Wheel of Valor. So we've got like this, there we go, we've got this little wheel there. And obviously there's a couple of categories that correspond to a question. So I'll go through the categories. We've got unsung heroes, take the L, history lessons, touchdown, sliding doors, you up, hold the line, chasing waterfalls, this isn't where I parked my car, and so you're telling me there's a chance. A few pop culture references there. So if we just move this over here and I hold this down, give it a bit of a big spin. There you go. Whatever it lands on. Of course, had to be you up, right? What's a 2 a.m. thought that kept keeping you up and changed the course of your life or career?
As far as something that's life-changing, 2 a.m., man, a lot of times I think about how I can help somebody.
Yeah.
How I can help the next person.
And it keeps you up at night, doesn't it?
It'll keep me up at night. Like, I see, let's say, a kid or athlete that's going through it but really wants to get better, do better. Man, that would keep me up a lot trying to figure out how I can actually help that kid. And so I would say that's the biggest, because that's something I think about a lot at that time of night.
Well, thanks for sharing. And Julian, again, pleasure to have you on here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
coming
you,
in and
man,
joining
bro.
us on the Voices of Valor. If people that are listening in want to get in touch with you to either ask you questions, inquire about their child, to want to work with you, or just want to follow your work, where can people get in touch?
So you can go on my Instagram platform, Facebook, Twitter. I have my link tree in my bio. You fill out my training form, and I will get to you as soon as possible. But one thing I would say, if you're not 100% ready to go, don't fill it out.
For sure, yeah.
I don't, because I have a category on there that says out of 110, how bad do you want to train? If there's a 9, 8, you're not ready.
Well, we'll put all those details up in the episode and obviously plug your business. But yeah, again, thank you very much for joining us today.
Appreciate you for having me, man.
And for everyone listening, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Voices of Valor. I'm not sure if many of you know, but I am based in the Austin Round Rock region, and I want to shine a light on small business fitness community here. Though, like Julian's one at Focus, and basically, I'm just putting the shout out to those small business owners here in the Austin Round Rock region that if you want to get in touch, we'd love to have you on the podcast. Love to hear from you. We'd love to help you grow and let everyone know about you. So in order to do that, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. Just DM me, slide into my DMs at Michael Macri _HP coach, and follow us on our Valor Vision account. But finally, if you did like this episode with Julian today, please like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us again on our Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.